you're watching and listening to the MLO show, but we got...
Is it recording?
Yeah, we got a record going on.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're always in.
Sorry.
We're always live. And today, though, we got a special guest. We wanted to bring on another coworker that we have. And Tom Hestmark has joined the show with us today. And I wanted to bring Tom on just to get a different perspective because Tom's actually come from kind of a unique background getting into mortgage and also has some other fun stuff we're going to let him talk about. And then later on, we're gonna touch on some condo financing and stuff. I've had some different loans and some kind of emergency calls, and we all get those, right, when someone's in contract, and it's like, hey, my financing isn't going through, and like you take a look at it. So we're gonna go into some condo tips and tricks and kind of what to be aware of when buying or financing a condo. But let's start it off with kind of what we got going on. I'm Casey Carpenter. I'm your guys' host today with the MLO show. We've got our favorite co-host over here, Mikal.
Hello, good morning.
And then the special guest, Tom Hestmark.
I don't know what you were thinking with that, but
Yeah, we bring
am
everybody
special.
on. Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of just wanted to kick it off. So, Tom, first off, kind of tell us how long you've been in the mortgage biz, man. What's going on?
A long time. You were probably like 2. 1995 is when I started.
I was 7. You know, I was there.
I was 8.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Come on. We're still 80s babies.
So
Come
I
on.
was 12 when I started in the industry.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Heck yeah. So, I mean, like, how'd you get in? What made you want to do mortgage and stuff like that?
No, my roommate at the time he'd gone to college with somebody that started a mortgage company, and he was like, "Hey, there is this industry where people are doing pretty well, and they help people get into homes. You should try it." And I'm like, "I know nothing about it."
What's a mortgage?
Yeah. Didn't know anything about it. And he said, "It's fine. The owner will train you." And that's how it started.
What company was it?
It was a company called Mortgage Market.
Mortgage Market.
And actually, our CEO was, I think he came in about a month or 2 after I did.
No way.
Kurt Vanderzanden was there as
Yeah.
well. Actually, Kurt was one of my trainers as well.
Okay. Yeah, I heard like at the Christmas, we had a Christmas party this last week, which actually was pretty fun. And everyone was talking about that. Like, there's been a lot of people.
OG
Old
days.
school.
Yeah, mortgage market.
It was like quote at 1,000, meaning like $1,000 total profit on the loan, and it was just help as many people as you can and give them like the lowest rate.
Oh, that's cool. So we're not talking like Wolf of Wall Street days, like a bunch of points on the
It
back
was-
end of loans.
I mean, it
and
was
stuff
a
like that.
brutal training program.
Yeah.
3 months with you and a training partner with the owner, and he didn't take any crap. Like, he would call me at home in the morning. This was before like you had computers. That's how old I am.
Oh wow, we're doing like paper loans. Then,
Yeah, no, your good faith estimates were on paper. And if
Okay.
somebody wanted some options, you're like, okay. And you had to rewrite everything 3 times. But he would call me at 5 in the morning and go, "Hestmark, you're not going to make it sleeping in. Your competition's already at work." And I'm like, I don't have anything to do. So I would just get up and go to work so
Okay.
I wouldn't have to hear his phone calls. But
Those
it
are good
instilled
habits. Those are good habits.
it
to-
instilled a work habit and a work ethic that don't get up at 5 a.m. these days, but I still get up and
like
go to work.
5:30 probably.
5:45.
Hey, that's good.
yeah, they're still getting there.
Yeah.
And this is back in the day where like everything was in, you know, the folders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Like a full.
It was like that when
Paper
I was
copy.
in the industry. That's when I started. They were still all paper. I missed the paper
you
days.
did a bunch of paper loans, or
Yeah, I mean,
had-
everything
you
was
had,
all
like-
paper.
When did
Nothing
you
was
start?
electronic. 2009.
Okay.
So, I mean, we had email and we had computers, but all of the documentation was in the file. You could
Picked a
not
good time
submit.
to start too, right
after the crash.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah. I had a good 10-year run before things went crazy.
I'm like the baby over here.
Yeah.
When did you start?
2015.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that you were I guess it's almost 10 years.
Yeah, I remember every time I'd see you at events and be like, hey, how's your first year going? I'm like 10 years in already. I'm like, oh, God.
By the time I'm 40, I'll have about 20 years under my belt, which is crazy.
But you went to college right into mortgage?
Yes, I graduated on a Thursday and had an interview at a mortgage company on a Monday.
What sparked you to get in the
Same. I
industry?
feel like everybody just kind of falls into it. I feel like everybody you ask about mortgage, they just fall into the industry. But my brother was in the real estate industry here locally, and the market had just crashed. I really wanted to be a teacher, and my dad's like, that's not going to work for you. Like, it's not. Teachers are on the picket line right now fighting for their job after the crash.
Totally.
And so I just, more than anything, was just going to take the interview for interview experience. I just graduated. And this guy was saying, there's a loan officer, owns a company, and he needs an assistant. And I was like, I have no idea what a mortgage is other than knowing what a mortgage is. And yeah, almost 15 years later. No, 16 years, 15 years. 15 years this
Who'd
year.
you start with?
A small family-owned company here locally.
Oh, that's cool. But I mean, everyone kind of transitioned that way. I guess I got in later because I went in the Navy.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you for your service.
You were
that
serving for.
works. Where you guys were like going through real life. Like I didn't even know a housing crash happened. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I was just overseas deployed, and we were just getting raises left and right. And I thought life was good, but clearly it was not good back in the States.
I mean, you probably saw a little more than we did, but
A little bit more, but then part of it too. Yeah, I got out,
Just a little.
got some finance degrees, and it's the same thing for me. I interviewed a couple places, but I got lost in I walked in the office and people are just like yelling on the phones, like papers flying. I was like, this is kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. Sign me up, buddy.
I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in.
My first few years in this industry were very crazy. I mean, there was so much business going on. I mean, we could do a whole episode on that, but
Yeah.
we probably shouldn't. I think I'm going to write a book about it one day.
Do it.
do it.
Make a movie. You can be my actor.
Speaking of that,
Oh, jeez.
that's a good transition.
Good.
So,
Look at that.
We set that up.
yeah, that's perfect setup right there. So, not only do you do mortgage, Tom, what else do you do?
When the opportunities arise, I am an actor, and
No big whoop.
No, he's got an IMDb
He's
account,
famous.
guys. Like, basically, look
Do
him
you
up. He's
really?
famous. Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you could look him up.
I wanna look
Everybody
you up
uses
now.
that IMDb. Check
Well,
it out. He's been
I
in some
mean-
local stuff. Come on, tell us a little bit on the acting. So one, and we don't got to go too personal in it, but I know it comes from a good place on why you got into acting.
it does. Typically, I'm shy. Most actors are okay in front of the camera, and I am not. So it's something I've always wanted to do, but never really pursued because of the anxiety. And my mother was diagnosed with cancer in 2011, and she was saying that things that were used to be scary to her are no longer, because she knows she has a time limit. And she said, what's something you always wanted to do? And I said, be an actor. And she said, get off your ass and go figure it out and go do it. And so I did. The first couple of acting classes, like, I had to walk out of because I could not even participate because of the anxiety. And then I took a couple private classes with my acting coach, and kind of warmed me up. And then
Yeah.
got an agent, and first audition, I booked a lottery commercial, and I was like, dude, this is so easy. I got it. And then you audition 20 more times and don't book anything, and then you're like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? And so it's crazy. You have to get used to, and then they don't tell you when you don't book it. You just don't hear anything.
You don't hear anything.
You know, like when it's supposed to be filming, and if you're not
Yep.
filming, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
So,
This
know
one
what?
wasn't for you.
This
No.
one wasn't for you. It's basically you get ghosted, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
get
just
ghosted.
no knowing.
There's nothing. Yeah.
No, not even an email, text.
Nope.
Nice. Nice. So, with kind of the anxiety and acting and stuff like that, I mean, mortgage, like obviously, I don't know about everybody, but I get some anxiety in mortgage. You never know if you're dealing with a hard situation, client.
You lose sleep in this
Frustration.
job? What?
I mean, I'm getting so seasoned these days, coming up on my 10
my
years.
gosh.
Like, nowadays. I
How
can
many
sleep.
nights can you think of that you've been wide awake because of alone? I mean, so many.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, especially if
We care.
Yeah, because we care. We care about clients, and part of that, everybody is like, we really do put a lot of effort into home loans. You want to see that succeed. You're trying your best to like get the right financing for the client, make it fit their budget or payment and what that is. But there's a lot of rules and regulations and changes that happens, and we'll go into that a little bit with the condo stuff here. But sometimes it's unexpected, or sometimes a client does something, and it's out of our control as that advisor. As much as we try to keep that loan going and perfectly smooth for everyone, it just doesn't sometimes, and yeah, it can lead to sleepless nights. And you just feel bad too. I feel bad. I feel bad
It's a
for the
big deal.
client.
Buying a house is a big deal. They have a lot on the
Very big
line.
deal. It's one of the biggest purchases you'll ever do in your life.
It's true.
Right?
Cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, we're kind of
What was I talking about?
No, you're just talking about yourself, but with the anxiety, and acting and mortgage and stuff. So how has that like helped you a little bit? Like,
Well,
did mortgage, cold calling, all that kind of stuff help you as an actor, or did acting kind of help you with mortgage?
I think the acting's kind of helped me with mortgage because I have to act like a loan officer or something. No, it's you know what I had an issue with speaking in front of people and like realtor presentations or first time home buyer presentations, things like that. It's helped me be able to like not freak out and
Do some box breathing.
yeah. And you know what's funny is all of the things that you're freaking out about anyways, like nobody cares or even notices. So it's all the stuff that you've got made up in your head, and just go out there and talk. And if you mess up or say a word differently, you just keep going. Nobody cares. It's like, so it's made me more comfortable.
Okay.
And, I actually, like this, I'm actually more nervous doing this than filming a movie, which.
Well, I mean, we're kind of a big deal here.
Super big deal.
Yeah, we're kind of, we got
you guys are.
we got a YouTube page, and we'll do a little plug there. Anyone listening, make sure you check out our YouTube page at the MLO channel. We're starting to get some traction there. But yeah, we're kind of a big deal, Tom. So you can feel nervous on here. You know,
so it's valid.
Yeah,
my feelings are valid.
Half the time, people that are watching it see me just like running my big old nose on the mic because I don't know how to check mic differences here.
That's how you. Is that your gauge?
Yeah, that's my gauge. That's how I know.
I got a pretty
I'm
big
close
beak
enough.
too, though, so I can.
But it's good. Like, I think the anxiety and stuff like that happens a lot in our business, especially for us. I mean, if we're doing, real estate presentations and things like that, Michael puts on a lot of different events. Like, it's amazing to see that happen. So
I never speak in front of the crowd.
She doesn't seem nervous at all, though.
And because I never speak in front of the crowd.
You
I
don't
always
speak at your presentations?
I don't ever do presentations. Like, we do lots of events.
Okay.
And we host a lot of like the OMBA stuff. We're in charge of that, but I usually make the president speak.
Oh, like you did last time. Good work. Nice move.
So that's how she gets over the anxiety. She just sets up the event and then makes somebody else speak. Classic. I like it. I like it. So, kind of on that last part about it, so tell anyone that's listening, because we do get a lot of like real estate agents, mortgage professionals and stuff listening to the show, and not just our home buyers and potential clients and current clients, but what are you helping like for your business right now? Like with agents, is there something do you bring agents onto like your acting sets or anything? Like, is that just completely separate?
No,
do you leverage that in this business, or
no?
is that how you promote yourself? Like,
I
work with a real actor.
Yeah, right. No, you know what? I try to be available and down for the cause if my realtors have a need for something. Like, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I got to be Santa.
Oh.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. Giving back to the community.
Pictures with Santa. And you know what's funny is that the real estate agent who I did this for, her dad was always Santa, and that was my son's first picture was with her dad as Santa. So I was like, you know what? I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any kids cry.
Oh,
wow.
That's like the
Boom.
Did anybody pull on your beard?
Yes.
What was the craziest thing a kid asked for?
Well, one kid told me that I didn't look like the Santa at Washington Square.
Oh, wow. I mean,
Cutthroat.
that's where
then
everybody goes. You gotta
And
get
then I
those
made a
pictures.
mistake because I literally had to talk to a client because we were at a house that was for sale, and I had to talk to clients as Santa.
Oh my gosh.
And so there was one point where I I pulled my beard down, and
Oh, no.
I couldn't, with a straight face, talk to like, your rate's going to be this, and this is this much down. But one of the other real estate agents' daughter was there and saw Santa's beard get pulled down.
Oh.
She called me out on
She
it.
called you out.
Did you tell her the truth?
Yeah, that I was just helping Santa out because he
Filling
was
in.
too
Good
busy.
save.
Yeah,
Good save,
filling
good
in,
save.
filling
Yeah.
in. He's got some fill-ins every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it one year too for one of the builders over here in the Bethany, Beaverton, and Oregon area. And if you're listening to this, we're in Oregon, Pacific Northwest, but yeah, in the Beaverton area, and we did open house. It was a subdivision. Did the full nine, dressed up as Santa, and my kids, I did it so well. But they like gave me a really good suit. Like this was a high end. This wasn't no like just Amazon buy. This thing was like stitched probably by the elves. And then
Pull it off.
passed down. 100%. I'll have to.
The kids didn't know.
No. I'll try to throw a picture on when we send this on the
Oh my
YouTube.
gosh,
But
that's so funny.
yeah, they didn't know until they were looking at me, and then like kind of my dark eyebrows, and then they noticed like we have very specific like teardroppy almond eyes, and they're like,
And you all look alike. Like everybody in your family looks alike.
yeah, the Carpenter gene is strong.
It is.
What did you throw a belly in there?
I think at that time I just had gained some weight, so I was pretty good on that.
No pillow needed.
No pillow needed. And they were like, my youngest kept looking up at me, Lauren. She's like, wait a second, is that Dad? It was a classic move, but
Little does she know that Dad is actually Santa.
it
It wasn't even a lie.
It wasn't a lie. It's the truth. Still being Santa right now. But we try to do a bunch of different things to help our agents, whether that's, supporting them, at, holiday events or things like that. Open houses. Do you do a lot of open houses? I've been kind of getting back into that.
Not as
We're going to
many
take
as
the
I
silence
should.
as a no.
I'm with you.
No open houses.
No.
Well,
But I would
Yeah.
for an agent that I really liked being with.
I mean, we support however we can do it. And so kind of with that, is there anything specific like you and your agents are doing, with clients or at all? Are you just kind of out there doing the same old grind?
I need to step up my game.
Okay,
With my
that
agents.
happens.
I promise I'll step up.
That happens. I mean, in down times when it gets slower and stuff, you as a mortgage professional, you should reach out to your agent, see how you can help them. It could be an open house setups and stuff. The other weekend I did one. We showed up early, helped with signs, put that up. As mortgage professionals and supporting your partners, there's always marketing you can put together. For us, we'll bring people on the show too to help support them that way. But so Tom, kind of with everything, do you got a plan or a goal you're trying to shoot for in 2025? And we'll end it at that and get in some condo talk.
Lending or acting wise?
Yeah.
Both, actually. Good point.
People
You know?
probably care more about your acting.
Yeah, that's what they probably could do.
I mean, not that they don't care about your production goals.
I mean, the acting it's more fun.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's because
surely.
I always get to be like a bad guy.
Oh, yeah. Like,
That's fun.
you like
There was
I did get to play more of a emotional, sensitive guy recently. And that movie should be coming out in 2025. But it's kind of weird. You get an email notification from your agent, and it's like, tomorrow, send in this self-taped audition of here's the specs, here's the lines, and then you record it and send it in. And then if they like it, you'll do a callback. And now those are typically they're starting to be done more in person, but through COVID, everything was self-submit, self-tape, and then a Zoomed audition, which is really weird.
it's hard.
It's hard. It's better to be in the room so you
Yeah.
can feel
Feel.
the.
Yeah, get the
But-
emotions in there.
Yeah, so I don't have anything on the horizon for that. I just kind of accept the auditions when they come in and
Yep.
give it hell.
All right, I like that. How'd that recent role make you feel though, going from bad guy to emotional guy?
That was a tough one to do.
Yeah.
But it was really because you have to film, action, sit there, get emotional, cut, shake it off, do it again like 25 times. So
Did you cry?
I did
You did.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you cry right this second?
What's
Can you
that?
cry on
Could you cry
right.
on command?
Yeah, on command. Can you cry on
It
command?
would take me a second, but I could do
Can
it.
work it.
No pressure.
I'm gonna
Who's
try.
the most famous person that you either like you've been like so starstruck by that you've either worked with or have seen?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say their names, but it's on
Oh.
IMDb, so I guess I can.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all
If
linked
it's in
up.
a
Yeah,
movie.
you're professional.
The most recent one, I'm going to say his name is Glenn Morshower. He's been in like 300 movies. And I didn't know he was going to be the person that my scene was with until
Cool.
I sat down and they're like, introduced
Glenn,
myself.
get in here.
And then it took a second and I'm like, oh, shoot,
Yeah.
that's him. And then I was like, oh,
Star Trek. I need a minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was it was really cool to do that and to do such an emotional demanding scene. It was pretty cool to do that. That was a first for me.
Yeah.
Normally I have a gun and beating people up or.
I mean, kind of put off that vibe, you know.
In
I know
acting,
it's
not
the
in
beard
mortgage.
and the bald
Beard,
head,
bald
but
head.
I'm really a teddy bear. I swear.
It's true.
Last question. Have you ever cried in mortgage, Michael?
I actually have cried 3 times at work, and one of them was last week.
Oh,
But
jeez.
it takes a lot for me to cry at work because I like usually I'm a cry. Like I cry in like a movie or like the Hallmark aisle.
What
I'm a
happened?
softie.
Was it a
Oh,
client situation or did management yell at you again?
Yeah, it was management.
I hope it was management.
Management for sure.
Just crushed
I'm
it.
always on the naughty list with management. No,
I
but
mean, real
have
talk.
cried.
I kind of cried the other day when I was like Christmas shopping, which now we're getting off topic, but 100%. I was like Christmas shopping in Target, like trying to find some stuff for my 7-year-olds in between, and like I was like, man, this is just like it's hard. It's like hard to do it as like a single dad. Like I was just like, oh my god, you know.
Well, because you want them to have a great.
Well, yeah, and I'm like in Target 3
Experience.
hours going up and down, and anyway,
3 hours
yeah.
in
We
Target.
cry in this business, guys, because we are emotional and we are dedicated
Exhausted
to our
and tired.
clients, and we
Yeah.
work tirelessly.
It's been a hard few
It's
years.
been a hard few years, you know.
We're gonna all start crying right now.
Yeah, it's the real stuff. But thank you, Tom, for kind of giving us some backstory and stuff. And the reason why I want to have Tom on, because people from mortgage, I mean, we come from all different places, military veterans, college, you know, acting, you name it. I think every mortgage professional is not the same. I think everybody's different and brings something different to the table. But we had some, or at least I personally had some stuff come up. So I wanted to talk to you guys today just about some condo stuff and how important it is when you're buying a condo to have things just checked, because we've seen through years, I mean, even just me, I guess being the baby at the table right now, only almost 10 years in, you've seen buying condos just change throughout the years. And so recently I had a couple agents reach out to me over the last couple of weeks, and it was, lo and behold, like we've told everybody all the time, like the importance of getting pre-approved and doing that stuff up front, right?
Yeah.
11th hour on their home transaction, you know, kind of final approval, the last stretch, call it last 2 weeks of their transaction. They're having issues with their financing. They can't get the condo that they're buying to be approved. And so...
Let me ask you, did you have this client from the very beginning?
No, exactly. No, I did not.
Okay.
These are not my clients. Just agents called me because they knew of
For some
me
help.
and asking for advice and help and for us to look into it. And that's another thing that's important is even if it's not our transaction, I'm sure you guys do the same. When an agent calls you and asks for help or wants you to look into something, that's what we do. And it's the beauty of Mortgage Express and where we're at too is just having a really good team and underwriters that are literally across the hall from us. So
Let me guess. Something was wrong with the HOA.
yeah, and typically that is exactly it. So when it comes to condos, guys, it's super important to know what's going on with that condo right out of the gate if you can. So if you're getting pre-approved, one of the easiest things if you're looking to buy a condo is to check, depending on what type of financing you're going to be doing, if you're doing conventional, FHA or VA, to see if that condo is approved to do that type of financing. FHA and VA is a little bit easier because you can kind of go on the FHA condo approval. You can see if it's approved currently or maybe, a reason why it's not.
What's a common reason why you see a condo not FHA or VA approved?
What's the funniest thing to me on that is they just let it expire.
Yeah.
They just let the approval expire.
They
What
don't
is up
fill
with that?
They don't fill in the paperwork.
Yeah.
All they have to do is send it in.
Send it in, right?
I said I'm not a big HOA condo person, but I actually have one that I'm trying to spot approve FHA right now because they let it expire like 6 months ago.
And then I actually was just talking to someone the other day because I don't think I've done a spot approval since like 2018 or 19.
I feel like we have it, especially in Portland, like the condo scene is so different post-COVID. I think especially in the city, it's just a different ball game. So I don't feel like we see as much condos as we did personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
How's
a
the
doozy.
spot approval going?
I just talked to the listing agent today. He's like, "What's your game plan for this?" I'm like, "Well, with the spot approval, you kind of have to have all the HOA documents ahead of time. So it's kind of this cat and
Mouse.
cat and mouse
Cat and
game
mouse,
of getting
tail?
honestly getting the purchase under contract subject to it being spot approved because you have to have all these HOA docs ahead of time. And for the most part, some HOAs won't even give you those HOA documents until you're under contract.
Right. That's
So-
the difficult part. I did get one done, and it was less egregious than I thought it was going to
Yeah,
be.
it's not as bad
And it
as I
was
think.
A lot. I thought it was going to take 3 months, and I think it took like 30, maybe even less than 30 days, as long as you have all the paperwork up front. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's a really
And
good
if they've been FHA approved before, usually it's a little bit easier if you know that ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like what I wanted to point out to everybody. So when you're getting pre-approved, like it's not just easy to like pull up different, sites, FHA, VA, and stuff like that, and be like, oh, the condo like passes. Because when it comes to really looking at those, documents that you need from the HOA, which usually shows like the master insurance policy and their budget and their
Assessments.
meeting minutes and assessments and all the stuff that goes on. You typically need to be in contract to get that documentation. So it makes it difficult sometimes to know up front. But there's some due diligence that your lender should be doing initially when we're looking at a condo, because some of those checks can be done online, especially for the government, the VA and FHA. But when it comes to conventional financing, you really need to have those documents. And so it's an important thing with like
Do
these.
they charge for those to send you those? Does the
Oh
HOA
yeah,
charge you?
absolutely. Yeah, they have fees and stuff, which is again important for you to know when
Which
you're
is
buying.
why people typically want to be under contract because the buyer isn't going to drop $700 on HOA docs if they're looking at another potential buyer on the table too. So if there's 3 buyers here, this person's going to buy the documents, but they're going to accept this person's offer. So it is, like I said, that cat and mouse game.
Don't you
Cat
think
and
they
mouse.
should
But-
just give up the documents? since they're
100% because
already
they have
there?
them. They
Right.
have them.
They're there.
And that I said that to the agent. I was like, can we just have access to this documentation before you write the offer, we get it accepted, we go through disclosures, all of the rigmarole just to have it not work, or we could just be proactive and do it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Save everybody a headache. But
You'd think it'd be that easy, but
Psych.
that's the thing. It's like they hang on to these documents, and so let's just say that's what you're looking to do. You're looking to go in, purchase a condo. I'd say the most important thing you want to do for that lender is when you go into contract, get those HOA documents as quickly as possible. So like in these scenarios where I've had a couple agents reach out to me, get final approval, having issues getting this condo approved, it's really because, that lender most likely didn't get the documents in time. Maybe they didn't ask for them up front. Maybe it took a while for that HOA to deliver the documents, but they're now able to review everything and they're finding issues on it, which isn't allow them to do financing on it. So if you can get that HOA to give up those documents, be proactive as with your team, and try to have that stuff at your initial approval, I think goes a long way when you're buying a condo, because now you're knowing while we still have time, maybe we're still in that 7 to 14 day inspection time.
just another layer of the financing process.
I mean, they
Yeah.
could be approved based on their income and their down payment and everything, but
has nothing
condo's
to do with
not
the buyer.
approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like the condo approval has nothing to do with the buyer. I mean, in most parts, it's just everything that has to do with that HOA. And the HOA, guys, is the management company that's over the whole complex, right? They're managing the complex, and it's like, okay, so why are these things coming up? And specifically in the two cases for mine, one was just certain coverages. This condominium complex, which truthfully, I closed one here in September, and then a buyer just went to buy one in November, and they couldn't get it approved.
Same complex.
Same complex because Fannie and Freddie had changed requirements.
Ooh,
And that's
that
another
quick.
thing that's super, important to know when you're buying a condo is that Fannie and Freddie will, increase requirements, decrease like rules change daily. And we know that from just financing in general, but just because you bought a condo a couple months ago doesn't mean that condo still can be financed 2-3 months down the road. Something might have changed.
Documents could expire, or
Correct.
I've had this where I didn't know that there was an issue if there were too many investors that purchased
Yes.
condos. So
Yeah.
a certain percent has to be owner occupied.
Overinvestment. That's
Roughly, how much would you say you have an issue with a condo, though? I mean, to not scare people away, do you think it's more common than not?
I think it's more common
you?
than not. Yeah. I mean, if I was just going to guess, I would say it's kind of 50-50.
I've had good luck. There are a few where it's like, ooh, it's not approved, but good news is they can be spot approved now, which was pretty rare years ago. So the whole complex doesn't have to be approved. That one individual unit can be, and
Which is, again, another set of guidelines.
another
Yeah.
set of guidelines. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think Fannie and Freddie became so strict with their
Yeah.
guidelines?
Good leading question. And we can kind of get towards the end here
Just
on it.
asking
But
for a friend.
No, asking for a friend. So back in the day, and I got some quick little handout here, is like we saw Fannie and Freddie start changing a lot of guidelines, and everyone wanted to know like where this was coming from, because we were even asking as lenders. It's like, well, how come the insurance requirement is this now? And really what had happened is, and this wasn't too long ago, but there was a condominium complex, and it was called I'm going to butcher this, but you tell me.
What? The Champlain Towers?
Yeah, the Champlain Towers in the South
I
Condominiums
remember
in
that.
Surfside, Florida. This is 2021. And they had a huge disaster there where
I remember that.
yeah, it was a real big issue. And then we were looking it up. Me and Tom actually were checking some stuff out prior. And how many people did we find died during that on the
86, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like 86, something like that total. Like it was a big disaster. What
Well,
had
and it all
happened?
could have been prevented. The maintenance companies said that the parking garage and areas by the pool had degenerated the structure,
Mhm.
and they said they wanted to fix it, but the HOA was fighting because it was too expensive.
Yep. Deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that happens when you have 20 plus, sometimes even hundreds of people's opinions, and they're involved because they have ownership in it.
Yeah.
And some people can't afford it. Then they're trying to sell it. They can't sell it because of this future assessment. I mean,
Right.
it's a hairy.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
It's a tough
because
situation.
I
There
get
should
it.
be like guidelines, though, like you have to have this fixed. Like it's a liability at this point. People died.
Yeah.
I
And-
think that's what you were getting at, right? Is
Yeah, well,
that's why they.
yeah. So like we had this basically disaster happen over in Florida with condominium complex, and Fannie and Freddie just pretty much said, this is the reason why we need to be stricter and look at, maybe more regulations and guidelines on people buying condos, and really like increased insurance premiums and coverages and ordinances and laws and just a bunch of different stuff. And for us, like we really saw a big change in deferred maintenance. They really started looking at different complexes in a deferred maintenance eye, like
There's a bill for that now.
OMB,
They passed a
OMBA
bill.
over here. She knows
Well,
everything.
it just says it right here.
Oh.
The Surfside bill.
Yeah, Florida Senate Bill 4D. And this comes from like, now we've seen, this was back in 2021, so we're 3 years ahead, and we're still seeing all these different changes happening. And so it's just something to be aware of, because when things like that happen, your governing entities of the lenders like Fannie and Freddie are going to look at all condominiums across the board, because obviously this is Florida and it's a different state and a different market, but we're seeing the same requirements up here in Oregon, Washington. It doesn't matter where you're buying. So the most important thing kind of you can do when you're buying a condo is come back and just, one, try to do your upfront due diligence as a lender, get that thing checked out as best you can. If for a miracle you're able to get those HOA documents prior to going in contract, that is gold, because you can have your condo department or underwriter review that stuff. They're basically going to look at making sure, you know, coverage is up to date. They got the same amount of coverage on the complex, all that stuff, reserves, a lot of things that go into it.
So if I'm a buyer and I know that I'm looking at condos and I know I'm going to do an FHA loan, do I say, hey, Casey, hey, Michael, here's the address. Can you see if this is FHA approved first? Would that be like step one for me?
Perfect step one, yeah.
Okay.
And it's not always just because it says it's approved on there doesn't 100% guarantee that the condominium is approved,
Okay.
but at least it tells us, yes, it is most likely current. And, you know, this gives us kind of that,
And then
at least vote of confidence that we should have no issues.
to get the documents on the HOA or the condo, that costs money. Do I have to, as a buyer, do I have to pay that up front before I write an offer, or do we wait till I write an offer?
I think it's going to be dependent. I would say
Yeah.
95% of the time you're under contract and the buyer pays for those
Okay.
HOA docs ahead of time. I think, again, every lender is going to have different guidelines on if they allow that to be paid through closing. Because there's such a risk of it not potentially working out, I would say most lenders probably will require that the buyer pays for their own HOA docs.
Okay.
That's why I looked at Michael to defer that question. I knew she'd
Yeah.
answer it better. I'd
was like,
say, you know,
"What?"
yeah, it's definitely going to be in your closing costs. Like they're adding in, and there's different stuff. Like another thing, right? Like when you're buying a condo, like it's important to realize, hey, your closing costs will be a little bit higher because you have HOA transfer fees. You have,
And what's so hard is every HOA is different. I mean, some HOAs are like $150 transfer fees and some are $3,000.
there
And that's
a-
something we don't really know until closing.
Is there a cost difference in interest rate from a townhome
good
to
question,
a
buddy.
condo?
That is on conventional financing, yes, there is a
Yes, there
pricing
is.
out on a very big one.
yeah. Had to have that conversation
risk.
with a client the other day. Like, I don't understand the nation average like single family interest rate
Well,
is
it's
this.
such a
And it's like,
big
well,
deal for
it's not that.
your lender to be reviewing properties with you before you go to submit offers, because HOA dues, I had a buyer yesterday, she was like, I want a blanket pre-approval letter. And I'm like, I will give this to you for your records, but you cannot use this and submit an offer without me knowing, because if they go into an HOA situation or a condo situation without us knowing,
Yeah.
it changes the financing in a big way.
Big way.
Yeah.
A pretty significant amount in interest rate, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found that out the hard way.
So, if you guys are looking to just purchase condos and stuff, at least hopefully this gave you guys some
we didn't-
knowledge.
We
And
didn't want to scare you.
we're not scaring you. The condos are great purchases. We do them a
Anybody
lot with
listening is
clients.
never going to buy a
They're like,
condo.
why would I ever buy a condo? It seems so hard. No, it's good. It's just there's more requirements there that you need to go through. So it's just for us. Again, we're always educating. We're always transparent here on the MLO show. We really are. And it's just for you to know and be in a better situation when you're out there shopping for homes. So like for condo stuff, if you guys got any questions or comments, you know where to find us. Leave it there on the YouTube channel or shoot it over to our social medias, and we will absolutely get after it. But any other pieces of information we want to leave the listeners or watchers with?
Tom, are
Nothing?
you going to come back on?
You gonna
the
come
show?
back on, Tom? Did you like it? Did we scare you
Hopefully
away or what?
I didn't blow it or ruin the show.
When
but
you get an Academy Award, will you take us on the red carpet?
yes,
Oh.
I will.
Perfect.
That
You have to get me on an airplane first. I haven't
we
flown.
Another fear?
I haven't flown since 2004. What?
and for another
Anxiety.
episode, we can talk about the anxiety of flying.
Yeah.
That's a big anxiety one.
That's big.
That's a long time.
I got Alaska I got Alaska miles. We'll get you on something.
You have to knock me out, I think.
No,
They
we'll do
they
something
make the
like
medicine
that.
for that.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely,
being
Tom.
here.
We appreciate it. And again, follow us on the YouTube channel. It's getting going. MLO channel on YouTube. And then for any of the questions on condos and stuff, it's still a great buy. Just drop them in, and we'll try to do our best to answer those for you. Until next time, we will catch you later.
Boom.
Bye.
Bye. You did it.
The MLO show is hosted by Casey Carpenter, NMLS 1458123, Addie Net, NMLS 1542184, Mikal Mele, NMLS 963197. Not a commitment to lock or lend. Terms and restrictions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Mortgage Express, LLC, NMLS Company ID 40831. Licensed in Arizona, Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho. With licensing in California by Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, DFPI, under the Residential Mortgage Act. Mortgage Express is an equal housing lender. For more information, visit www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.